Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about hemangiosarcoma. My dog has now lived 1 year past her diagnosis, and I have some information that I feel like I should share with the world because the statistics for this disease are pretty grim. I believe it's somewhere around 3 months tops, is what I was told and what a lot of the studies on the internet tell me. Some dogs live a couple of days, a few weeks, but I do believe that if you opt for the surgery, if you have that as an option, that's usually the better option because it saved my dog's life. My dog had it in her spleen. The tumor usually appears in the spleen or the right heart base or the liver. Um, with her, we got her spleen out and we did a biopsy and we tested it to make sure that it was the cancer. And so, said all that to say, let's get right to the point. I'm going to go ahead and give you the list of things that I did that I really believe gave me that extra year. She's still with me today. And what is today's date? It is May. It's late May the 28th. And, her surgery was exactly a year ago. So I'm happy to say that she's still with me and she's still going on hikes and we're still doing trips together, and she's my little buddy and I love her very much. And I'm sure if you're watching this, my heart goes out to you. I've been there, but I can promise you that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that no matter what your veterinarian says, they just don't know about herbs. They don't know about nature. They don't know about healing the body like non-Western practices teach. And so I really dug into the literature and I dug into a lot of holistic medicine, and I changed her diet and her lifestyle. And that's some of the things that I'm going to go into this video. So I hope you guys are ready. And I'm going to try to just briefly go through each one of these fairly quickly, okay? The first one is turkey tail mushroom. Okay, I use Host Defense. I'm going to put some links at the bottom of this video. It's a medicinal mushroom. It's got tons of benefits. It's very powerful antioxidants. It also has some gut healing properties, which is very good because you want your dog to have a healthy gut. I would also recommend a probiotic alongside of it to help your dog. So that's turkey tail. That's the first one we're going to go over. We'll go ahead and jump to this one. And this one is specifically for the bleeds. It's called Yunnan Bio. Yeah. I think that's how you pronounce it. Okay. So this one is to stop the bleeds. When your dog is having a bleed, there's a red pill in here. If you open up these packets, I think these are like $17, $20 last time I checked. I don't really remember. I think that's what these sell for the pack. But inside here in the center, there is a red pill that you want to give in the case of a bleed. But I was giving this to my dog Chloe pretty regularly. I'm going to tell you guys about dosages later. But for now, you need to go ahead and order these because time is of the essence. Okay, time is something that you're very short on, and if you don't act quick, you could lose your dog, and I don't want that to happen. The next thing I got, this is very expensive, and I don't think it's necessary, but I will say that I used it, and it's something that I used in the beginning, and I don't use it every day now. I only used it to fight the initial cancer, and that is called Yunity. Okay. Again, this is about $100 a bottle, and you only get about 60 capsules in here. And there's a whole lot of studies out there. I can link to some in the comments, but it's basically just a medicinal mushroom, and it's made from Corylus vesicolor, which is actually very similar to this. So if you had to choose between the two, I would go with the turkey tail. If money is a problem, I would go with the turkey tail. But when you are looking at the ingredients, they're very similar ingredients in here. it all comes down to money, right? So moving on, the next thing I would recommend for you guys to give your dog is going to be, I would really recommend you get some sort of turmeric regimen going on with your dog. Turmeric has endless benefits. It's anti-cancer. It's anti-inflammatory. It's just incredible. I personally take this all the time. So they make some for dogs. They make some for humans. I've given my dog both. And so if you're like, oh, is the normal kind okay? Well, I actually sprinkled some of this in her food, which we'll get to that later. We're going to get to diet later, but which again, I think either one of them are fine. It's turmeric. It's all, and I think a lot of this stuff is marketing when they're like, can you get the turmeric for humans or turmeric for dogs or whatever? It all comes down to sort of like how they market it, and a lot of times it's completely safe for your dog. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to get into is vitamin D3. Vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 is extremely important when fighting cancer. If your dog gets out and gets sun, that's great. But D3 is a good cancer fighter. It also fights viruses and other things in your dog. And it helps build a strong immune system too, which is imperative. So the two things that I would say that you got to really focus on is getting enough nutrition and getting their immune system up alongside of these herbs. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here. So now the next one, I'll tell you what, we're going to come back to that one. The next one I'm going to talk about is vitamin C. There are so many studies on vitamin C and cancer. It's mind-blowing to me that Western medicine has not picked up on this. Doing IVs alongside of chemotherapy, it should be the norm. But I think if enough people found out about what vitamin C can do to cancer, a lot of them would not get the chemotherapy because it's that powerful. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen people just make 180s with their cancer diagnosis, humans and also dogs as well. And so same thing for this. I don't think you can overdose with vitamin C. I know for humans you can't. And for dogs, I was giving her probably 3,000 milligrams every meal. Okay, so moving right along. So you got the vitamin C. We've got all that. Okay, so CBD oil. Now, this is specifically for dogs. You don't have to get this brand, nor do you have to get a brand specifically catered to dogs. Now, another oil that I don't have with me is one called hemp oil. Now, the difference between hemp and CBD, they're very similar. CBD is made from different parts of the hemp plant, the flowers, the leaves, and the stalks. So like hemp oil, CBD is free of THC. So they're not going to get your dog high if you give it to them. CBD is really good for anxiety relief, reducing inflammation, chronic pain. So if your dog has a type of cancer that is causing pain, if it's like a late stage cancer, this is really, really good for it. The hemp oil is it's full of omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids, and there's a collection of healthy proteins and amino acids also in the hemp oil. And so I would recommend you getting both if you can afford it. I did the CBD, but every situation is different, and so that's why cancer is such a tricky thing. I just know a lot about this specific type of cancer. Now, if you have another type of cancer, a lot of this stuff that I'm showing you is going to be good for it. The turmeric's going to be good. The vitamin D is going to be good. The vitamin C is going to be good. And there's so many studies about just turkey tail and other types of tumors. Okay, so what do we got next? We're going to go on to the milk thistle. Okay, so milk thistle is a liver detox. I gave this to her probably, and I think I gave her the human. I went back and forth. I gave her the dog dose, or not the dose, but the dog like name brand. And then I also gave her the human one. But I would do one of these probably once a week, once or twice a week. I didn't really do this all the time. I kind of spaced the milk thistle out. Now, as for the other ones, you really want to hit them really hard, and you don't want to do a maintenance dose. I think there's a huge difference between being in attack mode when you are fighting a cancer and when you are in maintenance mode. Right now, I'm in maintenance mode with my dog. We do 1 to 2 turmerics a day. We do some vitamin C, maybe 2,000 vitamin C here and there. And I make sure her diet's on point. And I just watch her. I see how she reacts. Is she getting tired? Is she still having bleeds? That's very important. So if your dog is still having bleeds, that's a bad sign. Depending on where you are in your journey, some dogs, I know that pre or post surgery, it's kind of, you can start this whenever you want, but I would check with your veterinarian if you have any questions. Again, keep in mind that a lot of the veterinarians are going to tell you that this stuff, there's no science behind it, and that there's no that there's no studies, and there is. It's just they just don't know any better. They've been trained to do chemotherapy and surgery, and that's okay. They're good people, and they mean well, and they do want to help. And some of them do. They are aware of all of these herbs. Okay, so we're going to keep moving with the herbs. Now, the next one I'm going to tell you about is colloidal silver. Now, I gave her colloidal silver intermittently in her water, and a few drops here, a few drops there. I think in the beginning I was pretty aggressive about it, and I did a lot in her water. And there's tons of studies out there on colloidal silver, and silver has been around for years, and it was used in the war days. From my research, I read that it was used to heal wounds, and I use it personally as a mouthwash, and I use it if I have infections in my gums, because it kills 99% of viruses and bacteria. So it's amazing. It kills things on the spot, and so this is also just going to help your dog's immune system altogether. Now, there's a couple of other herbs and stuff that I bought, but those are the main ones. And so we're going to keep moving for the sake of time, and we're going to talk about a few other things, because I'm going to go into great detail in my book, and that I'm actually going to link to this video, and I hope you guys get it. I hope a lot of people don't really have they don't have the time to sit down and write all this stuff down, and so I think in the book PDF, it's just going to be short, sweet, to the point. Here are the doses. Here's the food. Here's it's a to-do list. It's a manual that I think could really, really help all you guys. And there's no fluff. If you have this disease, you already know what it can do. And I'm telling you, it's extremely deadly. And so, as most cancers are. And so if you're dealing with another type of cancer, I think that you could also benefit from all the stuff that I've talked about. And so we're gonna move on and talk about a few more things really quick. So I think it's very important with your dog's atmosphere, what he or she is around. I got rid of all my soaps, and I switched to all natural soaps. So all of the harsh chemicals that are in the other shampoos and stuff, get rid of it. I started trying to basically be as pure and as natural and as clean as I could with my dog. One of the other things I did was I used a filter on her water. So all of her water was filtered. I did not give her any tap water. And that I had been doing that for a while. And so A couple of other things that I stopped doing was right away you have to stop using um, flea and tick medicines on your dog. It is not healthy. It's not good. It's only going to harm your dog, and it's going to lower their immune system. And if you're trying to fight cancer, that is very, very, very important. The flea and tick medicines to stop that right away. Another thing I would recommend you to stop doing is I would stop using if you get your yard sprayed with any sort of like pesticide, herbicides, anything like that. Stop that right away. Okay, I've heard of dogs getting cancer from that stuff. Like I had a friend of mine who is firmly believes that her dog got cancer from that stuff. So stop that right away. And let's see, what else have we left off? So have we talked about food? Let's move on to food. Okay, so there's so many different schools of thoughts on food, and I chose to do more of a ketogenic diet. Now I know it's a little controversial, and some people think plant-based is better, and I do firmly believe in plant-based. I think that you can get there with plant-based just like you can the ketogenic diet. Back then, I didn't really know which one to do, and I just chose one. I was like, you know what, I'm going to do ketogenic. In my head, it made more sense, lower the carbs, you know. But what I did was I supplemented lots of carrots, lots of greens. You know, I would put spinach in with her. So I would buy ground beef that had, there's companies online, and I can link to them. One of them that I used was called Ollie, Ollie, and they will send you, hey, there's Chloe. Which way? Hey, Chloe. She lost her hearing. Oh, glad you guys got to see her. But Ollie was one of the name brands that I used, and they'll ship it right to your house. It's a great company. You don't have to cook and prepare. Personally, I was busy, and I didn't have a whole lot of time, and so it was nice to get the meals shipped straight to my house. And so it came in like a little packet, probably this big. I think it was a pound or something like that. Several, you'd order like 18 of them at a time. And I was spending around maybe $10 a day in the beginning, but this is pre-cooked food shipped to your door. I don't quote me on that. It might be more or less expensive, but it came with the food I got was ground beef, and it had carrots and peas and other vegetables in it. And what I did was I would add bone broth, and so I would stir it in. I would stir the bone broth in. And Chloe, she's busy. Okay, she sees something out there out the window. But anyways, so diet is so important. If I could say the number one thing I would tell you guys to stop doing right now is stop the kibble. Stop eating kibble right now. There is no nutritional value in kibble. If you study the way that kibble is processed, in a plant, the way it's heated up, and the way, you're talking about processed food over processed food over. It's like processed so many times. It's not even like our food when we process our food. It's like it's almost like it's just processed and dried and anyway. So right away you need to get away from the kibble. Now, if you are short on money and you want to mix a little bit of the kibble in with all the vegetables and all the herbs, then you got to do what you got to do. I would say if you have the money you can also cook the ground beef for your dog. That's what I started doing recently because it got to be very expensive, and a lot of my work slowed down because we're in the middle of a pandemic, COVID-19, and so. That being said, either will work. It all just depends on how much money you want to spend. You can also do chicken. You can do any lean meat is going to be great. Some people I've read have done like liver. You can go to the store and get scrap steaks, or you can go to your local meat market and ask them if they have scrap steaks that you want to feed. No matter what you get, it's going to be better than kibble. Kibble is, I'm going to try to be careful with my words, but I think that it's so widely accepted, and it's become such a business that we've just accepted it as the norm. And dogs get cancer, and dogs, I had a friend of mine whose dog died early, around 7 or 8 years old, and it was linked back to the grain-free dog food that they were eating, and they thought they were doing the right thing. And turns out there was all these studies that came out against grain-free dog food, that it was negatively impacting their dog, and they lost their dog, I think, last year, and it's a shame. These are our children, and we have to treat them with love and respect and all the kindness that we can give them, right? So to sum everything up, you basically need to keep in mind nutrition. You want to get as much nutrition in your dog as possible, okay? So you want to get as much greens, as much carrots, no carbs, no dried food. That stuff is not going to get nutrition into your dog. That is one thing that is so highly important. Now, there's so much more that I did than this, guys. This is just a tip of the iceberg. If you want to find out more, there's a couple more herbs that I got. There was a couple more things that I did with my dog and her lifestyle and stuff. And if you really just want like a simple 1, 2, 3 list, I encourage you to order the PDF that I put together for you. If not, you can just take this information and roll with it, and it's all good. And if I can help you with your dog out there, I will be, this video was worth it all. Anyway, I hope that this video helps, and leave me a comment if this video helps you guys, or if you learned anything from it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.